Hey Gemini, this is Mimi from Divinations by Mimi with your February 15th through the 28th tarot and oracle reading. Um, it'll include a little bit of astrology as well. We'll be using the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti for your tarot reading, and we will be using the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck for oracle, and then we have, if needed, um, some runes for additional clarification should we need it. Okay. Now, astrologically, you will feel what everyone else is feeling, but there's not a lot happening in your zodiac sign and in your speak constellation. Sorry. There's actually no planetary activity within your constellation throughout the rest of this month, 15th through the 28th. However, you will be feeling the varying aspects and oppositions that are occurring within some of the big heavy hitter planets and astrological signs. So for example, you're going to feel the fast moving, unpredictable energy that is opposing of Uranus in the sign of Aries, which is currently in an opposition with Jupiter, which is expansive. So that's fast, unpredictable, expansive energy. So you can expect a lot of change. You can expect a lot of energy out there. You might feel compression. It might manifest itself in kind of like a pressure way where you're like everything's irritating, or it might actually manifest itself in a way that's quite nice for you. Which is fluid, open communication with constant mental stimulation. Mercury is very nicely placed right now and for the rest of the month in Aquarius. That's your ruling planet. And you're all about using the mind, getting to know other people, feeling them out. What does he mean by that? What's motivating him to say that or her to say that? So you're very social and you're communicative, again, ruled by Mercury, messages and communications, but definitely intellect. And it's going to be amplified, your ruling planet being in Aquarius, which is another amplified intellect logical sign, air sign as well. So you'll feel that energy for certain. All right, so let's get on with the tarot. This is a 3-card spread based upon the top tier of the Tree of Life, based upon the supernal triangle. So basically what would be Keter, Hokmah, and Binah in our situation will be the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious. We'll clarify, as I said, with the Vintage Wisdom, which is a beautiful deck. And again, if needed, we will clarify further with runes. Two more. All right. Let's look at what we need to know on the superconscious level, on the conscious level, and on the subconscious level. All right. Superconscious is telling us the 5 of Swords, which in the Thoth deck is known as defeat. Very often it's a gloating form of defeat. In other words, you've won something, you've learned something, you've gained something. I wouldn't say you've learned something. You've gained something, but at what cost? So perhaps you've got one over on someone. Perhaps you have won an intellectual banter, which is likely. You're very intelligent with someone else. But it's not a feeling of, perhaps you're learning and growing. You're moving along in your intellectual path, in your career path, even in your spiritual path. But it's a shallow victory that you're feeling here. I think Spirit is trying to tell you that you need to dig a little bit deeper into what you consider a worthwhile endeavor. What ultimately are you trying to gain? Remembering the big picture, that we're all part of the same collective unconscious. Okay? Is it really going to be wise for you to, although you have the skill to set someone straight verbally or written or what have you, intellectually the capacity is absolutely there. Is the goal really worthwhile? So I think Spirit is asking you to take a look at what you're wanting and really looking at the big picture and seeing if this is truly what your authentic, true soul self wants. Okay? And on your mind at the moment, I think somebody else had this in the superconscious position. You have the Two of Pentacles, which is change in Thoth, which is about balancing your resources. Pentacles are resources, but it's in reverse. So in your conscious mind, I think you have a feeling as though you're constantly trying to or having to grapple at what you have. It's almost like it's a struggle every month. You know, if we were going to put it in financial terms, I'm not saying this is what it is, but resources can be finance, it can be time, it can be energy. It's a situation where there's never enough time, money, or energy when all is said and done and everyone is paid out, you know, so to speak, by the end of the month. You're constantly grappling to get your energy back. Or your finances back, or make things work. And I think Spirit is telling you, and you're recognizing that you're not balancing your resources. And not in this deck per se, but most decks that indicate the Two of Pentacles, particularly that are based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system, show a lemniscati around the two coins or discs that are in motion. And that means that it's an eternal quest to balance one's resources, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter which particular resources we're talking about. So I think that you are recognizing, and Spirit is telling you, whatever this is in your mind, whatever it is that you're working on, that you're concerned with, again, if you realign with your true source, the superconscious, God, source, whatever you want to call it, the collective, your resources won't be a question any longer. You'll actually hear the wisdom that you need to hear so that you are balancing and allocating resources, again, whether they're energy, finances, physical resources, what have you, in the best way, okay? I think you've cut yourself off from source in some way. I think you've, not that there's anything wrong with intellectual pursuits or the mind, you know, but the mind is only one part of us. Again, this is a supernal triangle. There's three parts of us: a subconscious, which it looks as though you're not staying in touch with, based upon the High Priestess in reverse. High Priestess upright, again, this is subconscious. The very place you're going to be getting in touch with the High Priestess would be the subconscious. That's it. She is fluidity. She is the deep, dark mysteries, the understanding, the why I do what I do. You're not getting in touch with that. I think this is, and I'm not judging here, please don't get me wrong, this is merely what I'm seeing. But it seems as though there is a need, and your mind's telling you this. You need to reconnect with source. You need to reconnect with the big picture. You need to reevaluate and reassess what is, reprioritize what really is of value. Because this is saying that this is a, whatever win this was shallow, and that's what Spirit is reflecting back to us. So let's get some clarification on, I think these are pretty clear. You cut yourself off from source. You're not listening to your intuition. You're running purely on logic. But I'd like to know a little bit more about the struggling of resources. Is this something to do with physical resources, your time, your energy? Do you feel that you cannot engage all three aspects of yourself, mind, body, spirit? Is that what it is? Let's see if we get some clarification on that. What's that about? What's that Two of Pentacles in reverse in our conscious mind? Oh, there we go. In our conscious mind about. Surrender. Well, that makes sense. And you may not even feel like you're uptight at the moment. Here's surrender. It's a beautiful card. And I think we all know what surrender means. Relaxing into the flow. Now, I don't seriously think that you'd be looking at tarot videos if you didn't understand that there was something beyond the intellect. You've got a mastery of the intellect. That's an absolute fact by birth. Mercury is your ruling planet. You guys are smart, no doubt. And you're wicked funny, and you're very fun to be around, and just a very sharp individual. A great communicator. But it doesn't look like you're communicating with your source. And I think surrender here is basically telling you, reassess what you want. Reassess what victory it is that you think that you've had, because you're sorely lacking in connection with source. Once you do that, once you surrender to the real thing, reconnect to the real thing. Reconnect. Listen to your dreams. Write your dreams down. Listen to your subconscious. Listen to your intuition. Meditate. Once you reconnect with that, with source, whatever the resource issue in your conscious mind is, whether it's financial, whether it is energy, whether it is time, or stuff, or health, it will sort itself out. But you've got to surrender. You've got to relax back into the flow of life, because it seems like you've cut yourself off. That's the way it looks to me. We'll get a little more clarification here. Just going to pull the runes, and then I will stop talking. So we received, here, I'll show you. Wunjo. Can you see that? There it is. Wunjo in reverse. Wunjo in the upright position is good fortune, expansiveness, growth, new opportunities. When it's in reverse, it's the opposite, unfortunately. And it is actually a lot to do with your attitude. In other words, there are things that you can adjust. I think what this is telling us here in the days to come for you, if you can adjust your priorities, understand that you cannot cut yourself off. You know, she's working in the depths, deep inside, whether you're paying attention or not. Now, in reverse, it's hidden from you. However, if you surrender to the flow of life, if you reevaluate a goal or a victory that you think that you've made, or perhaps the way you prioritize mind versus spirit. Although I know you don't like chaos, there's an element of chaos to surrender, but it's important, because once you do that, then you're looking at regaining control of your resources, regaining control of your time, reconnecting with the source, and getting some input, some information through your dreams, through your intuition, through meditation. I guess what I'm getting at here, after a lot of verbosity, is that a word? You tell me, Gemini. After a lot of talk here, I think what we're getting at is you need to start reconnecting with source again, with God's source, with meditation, quieting the mind, whatever it is, listening to more than just the logical mind. And with that, I will shut up. Okay, so this was a general reading. If you would like a personal reading, I would love to read for you, Gemini. Just use the email address that is posted in the description box below, and we will set up a time and do a personal reading for you. And that is it. So I hope you really enjoy the rest of your month. I hope you take some advice here. And I mean, even if this doesn't necessarily speak to you directly, and this doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't really fit your situation, it never hurts to meditate more and connect with the source more. I think that's the very life breath of who we are. And good things will come of it. All right, Gemini, have a great rest of the month. You take care.